Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing well. So in this video I kind of wanted to go over some really important tips on the more psychological and mental aspect of toy photography, because there have been a lot of tutorials out there on stuff like where to buy your figure, where to get equipment, starting in the hobby, how to pose figures using practical effects, light painting, etc. So I kind of was thinking, I want to bring some kind of new content out there to maybe help people in a different way. So with that, I'm going to kind of go over some important mental factors to keep in check while you're doing this hobby. So the first tip we're going to go over is finding your own schedule. So if you're on social media platforms, you'll notice that some accounts have information in their bio relating to how often they post, when they post, and there are a lot of accounts out there that post daily, which, by the way, for anybody that does that, cue the applause. I don't know how anybody manages that, but really, clap clap. Anyway, if someone can do that but you can't, that's totally fine. Or if you can do that and other people can't, that's fine as well. So this is going to be your own schedule. You're going to want to figure out how flexible you want it to be, whether you work better under very precise schedules, saying, I'm going to go out on this day and I'm going to shoot at this time. Or if you're the opposite, where you don't really want any pressure to do it at any time and you kind of just want to go for it whenever you get the spark of, hey, I got an idea, I want to shoot it. So it's really important to manage your time and juggling all your other responsibilities like work, your personal life, adult responsibilities, and the like, and ensuring that you're finding a time to shoot where you have a lot of room to do it, there's no stress, and this is going to ensure that you're staying happy and excited. Because if you're going out to shoot and you have a whole bunch of pressure and you're a nervous wreck or you're going super fast, you just want to get it done, it's going to suck up all the fun out of it, and it is going to hinder your creativity. So that's going to be my first tip, is it's very important to manage your own schedule and figure out what works best for you. Another thing I'd like to note here is that there's not going to be a whole bunch of people that are going to be mad at you if you don't stay consistent. No one really expects that of you, and it's important not to create that pressure on yourself. Everyone has things come up this day or that and they can't take a photo, or maybe they're out of town that week. And I know a lot of accounts that let their followers know about that, but it's super, super important that you don't put pressure on yourself for when to post and how often to post based off of an idea of other people's expectations. Most of the time those expectations won't be realistic and won't really exist in the first place. So a lot of the tips that I'm going to be talking about are kind of going to be prioritizing your mentality first, because if you're not helping your own mentality, things are going to kind of fall apart. So yeah, tip 1 is finding your own schedule. Alright, so tip number 2, which I've actually talked about and discussed with a lot of other toy photographers, is blocks. So in pretty much any artistic outlet, there's going to be burnout, there's going to be blocks. I feel like everyone's heard of writer's block, and it's a really similar thing, and it definitely applies to toy photography as well. So if you're feeling like you're running out of ideas, or you're feeling blocked, my piece of advice is stop. Take a break for a few days, let the pot in your brain boil ideas in the background, and focus on other things for the time being. I've gotten to chat with a lot of awesome people out there about this specifically, and how you can get really exhausted really quickly, especially if you're feeling pressure about how often you have to post, which again goes back to that first tip, trying to mitigate that so that you can let your brain breathe, and that'll really help pump out your creativity. Another way to know that if you're having a block is, let's say, hey, I'm having some ideas but I just can't get them to work for some reason, and you're going out to shoot and you're trying and it's just not working. You might try again later or at a different day and it's still not working. So this is going to be a pretty severe block, and one lesson I've learned is not to stick on something for too long. I've had plenty of times where I have this idea, I want to make it work, I'm trying so hard to make it work, I'm spending hours on it, and it's just not working. So I've learned that the best thing to do is, when this is happening, is actually just cut the idea, scrap it. As much as you'd want it to work, trying too hard is going to be bad. Putting it behind you is going to give you time to move to something else that might work a lot better for you. I know when I'm shooting and I have an idea and I'm going to set it up, there's a certain threshold of effort that I'm aware of now after a lot of experience. And so if I'm trying to set it up and it's just driving me crazy, or it's just not working how I want it to be, and I did try, but I'm finding that I'm trying too much, or an hour's gone by and I haven't even taken the photo yet, I just stop. It's gonna suck, it's gonna feel like a loss, it's gonna kind of be a bummer. But a really important thing in toy photography is accepting the fact that you're gonna have some failures, just like everything else. So again, you know, if you've tried, you put in your effort, but you find that you're putting too much effort in, that's when you know that you just need to step away. And then if you come back to it and it works, great, you know, go through with it. But making sure that you're not getting stuck on one photo is gonna help your productivity in the way that you can move on to future ideas and try something else again. And every time I've done this, the next time that I go out to take a photo, it works. I feel like a lot of people can get trapped here, and it's really easy to start to have thoughts like, hey, wow, I'm not good at this. What's the point? I'm gonna just suck. You know, I'm not gonna get a lot of likes on this. I'm not gonna get comments or saves. And that brings me to my next tip, negative thoughts. It's super easy to get into the habit of self-deprecating behavior, and it's really something you have to be mindful of. For me personally, I used to struggle with that a lot in the beginning, especially starting out, you know. It's a lot harder when you're newer to something and there's all these better people out there than you, and you can feel like it's kind of pointless. But that right there is going to be your first mistake. So I would keep in mind that, you know, a lot of other people out there have been doing this for far longer than me. They have far more experience, and if I quit right now, I'm not going to get that experience and know that, you know, I can catch up to them. So tip number 3 is going to be just keep going. You're definitely going to make some bad photos some days. You're going to have a lot of failures, but you can't let that stop you from making good photos in the future, or just keep trying to get that good photo, because you will eventually, trust me. If everyone quit when they were new at something, nothing would exist in this world at all. So my piece of advice for this would be to really ground yourself in the mentality of, hey, am I enjoying taking this photo? If your answer is yes, then that should be all that matters. I've had plenty of conversations with people about this as well, where they feel down about their shot or like they're no good, and I just straight up ask them like, hey, did you have fun making that photo? And they'll tell me, yeah, they did. And I'm like, well, that right there is your only answer that you're gonna need, because again, the backbone of this all is having fun with it at the end of the day. And this is gonna bring me to my last tip. Don't compare yourself too much to others. It's super easy to look at your like count and your follow count as being the worth of your work, but doing this is going to really build up an internal struggle in your mind and prevent you from being able to take shots and even take them enjoyably. You have to look at others for inspiration and not validation, and that applies to numbers as well. There's a lot of people that fall prey to that, and I definitely can't say I'm not one of them. I know I've looked at number counts and inside statistics on posts, and you know, sometimes I have photos that get a lot more love on them than others. But I've really come to a point where I've practiced this advice that I've been talking about in this video to the point where I don't really care. You know, if that one photo has less numbers on it, it doesn't matter to me, because I had so much fun taking it and I enjoy it. I think it's really easy to forget who you're doing this for, and you are doing it to share your work for others and of course hope that they like it, but you have to like your work the most. You have to be your biggest fan. If you're not, then you're going to be in a constant cycle glued to numbers, and you're really never going to be happy with what you're doing. I say don't compare yourself too much to other people or their numbers, but that's not to say you can't compare at all. You definitely want to look to other people for ideas and maybe even diorama ideas. I do this all the time. I save so many shots that I go to if I don't really have an idea, but I'm kind of really in the mood to take a photo, but I don't quite know what I want to do yet. I go into my saves on Instagram and I look at a bunch of amazing photos and I get an idea. You know, I get inspiration from those pictures and say, oh, hey, now I know what I can do, and it'll help you create another piece of work around any external factors. In order to have a strong foundation in any hobby or activity, you have to have your own internal self-worth, and all the rest of things like followers and likes are just smaller pieces of encouragement. If you can sustain that, you will achieve success for sure. It'll really help stave off any blocks, preventing the hobby from feeling like a chore, and ensuring your own creative growth. So with these tips in mind, I hope it really helps you guys if you're suffering from anything that I've mentioned, and just knowing that you're not alone in it, and it's something that needs practice mentally. It's really running over that mindset over and over again, making it as firm and indestructible as it can be, so you can just keep going. You can keep making photos and keep enjoying what you're doing. And this is really going to pay off in the way that your account will grow. You'll get more likes, more followers, especially because people like confidence. I also have seen a lot of people, you know, they post to their story their they're complaining about their likes or this or that, and that's totally okay, because I know that algorithms can get in the way sometimes. But just be mindful again not to do it too much, because people will notice, and it's going to be kind of a subconscious turnoff for other people. People might start thinking that you're kind of only in it for the likes and the attention and not for wanting to share your own work. And I don't think that's really anything feasible to sustain, especially if you're trying to create a great page. I think people are gonna respect you more when they know that, hey, you're just doing what you love and you're not getting upset over anything that we've talked about, because it's gonna kind of key them into the fact that you are falling prey to some of these things and struggling, and it's something that isn't easy, and a lot of us again can fall under that. But we have people in the community that also share on their stories, saying, hey, take a step back, likes aren't why you're here. Your main priority should be, hey, I want to share what I love doing and that I do in my own time, and I just hope that other people find that and like it as well. So I think combining that mentality and your own personal drive to become better than you were yesterday in the hobby are really key to success. It's important to engage in the community, and that's also how you'll naturally accumulate followers and attention towards your photos. Comment to other people, share their posts on your story, participate, and it'll really pay back in a way that's mutual and beneficial for everyone, because really everyone's there to share their work that they like and for other people to like it too. So yeah, I hope this gave you some insight, guys. I hope it helped you, especially if you were struggling. You're free to DM me and we can talk about it more. I've definitely helped some people with this personally, and I think it's awesome, that we have each other's back in this community, and we're there to cheer each other up and kind of remind us why we're doing what we're doing, and that at the end of the day we have a real passion for these characters and stories, and we bring them to life, and that's really beautiful in its own way. So yeah, I hope you guys found this beneficial, and I will catch you guys in the next one.